What up, guys? Welcome back. Good morning. Today we're going to be looking at an oil-based pomade. We're going to be continuing down the Cool Grease line, but focusing on the Charming Pomade, or like their oil-based line. And so today we'll be looking at the Charming Pomade Classic. Has the same name as the one last week, or rather 2 weeks ago, but the addition of the word classic, this one designates it as an oil-based pomade, not hydrophilic, just oil-based. But before we move on to that, real quick, just a few updates. The collab with Old Dudes is starting to make way. I spent all of last night working with my designer to kind of hash out details for the presentation of the jar, things like that. Yes, this time I'm not gonna be personally doing the design. I mean, it's still gonna be my concept, but still I'm gonna be working through someone else, someone I actually respect much more highly as a designer. The formula itself is already kind of figured out. The scent, however, is still kind of being hashed out. I'm still working with old dudes, kind of picking and choosing different characteristics, different auras, and trying to like get this product to embody something that we both like. What else? I think that's the only updates. We'll go ahead and keep you guys like updated with a time frame, what we expect, and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and go on with the review. Today we'll be looking at Charming Pomade Classic. As I said before, oil-based, not hydrophilic, the straight traditional one. It looks pretty different from the Charming Pomade that we looked at 2 weeks ago, which is like a really greasy, shiny type of product. This one looks a lot more like, I don't want to say waxy, but really like more like matte and stuff, just by first-hand appearance at least. So go ahead, start off as any other review by looking at the jar. So this is it right here. Charming Pomade Classic. Still within the Cool Grease line. So this is a really different style, different design, different aura from like the Charming Pomade we looked at 2 weeks ago. You have the designs on the top and on the face. Very similar designs, red, black, and white. And you have this important symbol right here which designates it as an oil type. So it's an oil-based pomade. Other than that, it's the same thing. This is also the larger 200 gram jar. So larger than like the 90 gram jars we usually look at. Opening it up, you see it's completely different from the other oil-based pomade. Unlike Charming Pomade or Tancho, this one has like a much more just kind of dry look to it. We'll see how it performs, but this is really different from like Tancho, Yanagiya, and many of the other Japanese oil-based pomades we know of. So let's go ahead and start using it. Thankfully, unlike Tancho, Yanagiya, or the other products, this one actually has like a really soft and neutral type of smell. It's like a mix of like baby powder and like kind of like flowers, but either way, it's really light, so it really stays out of the way. Scooping it out, it has a more familiar texture. Like it does give way with a little bit of push, and then it gets really soft, but it's something we're more familiar with, unlike the other one, which is like just really like jelly-like. So kind of just like agitating it now, it's like melting right away down to like a butter. I'm trying to think what this reminds me of right now. Applying it, I feel like the waxiness from like the gripping I'm like starting to feel right now. This is like reminiscent of like the Charming Pomade from before, where like you really felt that grip, even though it's like really light and like it spread it out really easily. You still get this like really strange like grippiness to it. But I am feeling like a little more like, I don't want to say lightness, but I don't want to say volume either, but this pomade makes my hair feel kind of like fluffy right now, which is nice. We'll see how it like does with like more product in, whether it starts like weighing down itself or not. I guess this kind of actually reminds me of Sheer Revival, like the TOWK pomade, the one who knocks pomade. Kind of reminds me of that, I guess. Like at first appearance, it kind of looks pretty similar. They have like a very smooth, semi-translucent type of look when it's like in the jar. Gets really like buttery in the hands, but that one of course is a little more thick in the hair. This one still feels pretty light. Hopefully, ideally, this one will end up styling like Grandad's Lightweight or something. That would be really nice. And I'm starting to pick up the smell more right now, and it's a nice floral type of smell, really out of the way. I mean, like if I'm gonna use cologne, then like this would be a pomade. This type of scent would be like what I want out of a pomade. Something really light, something really out of the way. This should be the last scoop that I need. But yeah, overall it feels pretty nice. Consistency is alright, texture is alright, application is not the easiest in the world. I mean, there are much more pleasurable like lightweight pomades to apply, but it's not hard. It's just these Japanese oil-based pomades have this strange like stickiness to them that makes it somewhat not difficult but a little discomforting to apply. But combing it back is pretty nice and easy. No doubt about that. Let's go ahead and start forming the part. And it seems with the product in, the hair doesn't mind at all being thrown back and forth. Like, it's pretty easy to throw things around right now. And also, I always notice with like really lightweight pomades and like with having sides that are like long enough to slick back, you always get this like weightiness right here, this buildup of like just like weight from the hair, which is really unaesthetic, but something you deal with for lightweight pomades. And so when I get another haircut, hopefully in this near future, probably within the next week or so, I can't wait to get some weight taken off of this area. Even with that, like the sides look pretty alright. I mean, they're definitely puffing out. Not as bad as like Charming Pomade, the other one from 2 weeks ago, but still nice. Alright, let's try forming the Pomp now. Working with this product is like a more enjoyable experience in comparison to Charming Pomade. The classic is much more enjoyable just because it's more predictable, just by a little bit, but overall I'm liking it more than the other one. So there's like a good amount of shine, not too much, it's not like excessive. It's actually a pretty balanced amount of shine. The sides are slicked back like okay. Ideally you come in with like another product to probably keep it tighter. Everything's like pretty slick. There's like only a few like stray hairs, really nothing I can't like deal with. And the pump itself is at like an average height, pretty good shape, but how long that will last I'm pretty unsure of. Like it still feels like a pretty lightweight pomade, and things can probably like fall apart with not too much like shaking at all. But yeah, so we'll see how it does. I mean, it looks pretty nice right now. and it has like a pretty light feel, which is really nice. It doesn't feel super greasy, so that's good. But be back in a few hours. We'll talk about it then, kind of see how how it does endurance wise, restylability, stuff like that. So see you guys in a few hours. Alright, what up guys? So back now, end of the day, but real quick, ran into a viewer today right outside of Bun's Bakery. So shout out to Hi for having like the guts to actually just stop me in the middle of public and ask me if I'm the Pomp. So yeah, you're the biggest Vietnamese dude I've ever seen in my life. But anyways, back to the review. End of the day, actually ended up being a pretty hot and like sunny day. So things really melted down. I lost almost all my height basically, and like any sort of forwardness is like almost gone. Like in terms of endurance, like it can survive. Like for cold weather, I'm sure this pomade will fare perfectly fine. Like it'll be good. I'm sure many of you guys already know with cold weather, light pomades are pretty like often the better choice just because they're light and they also just sustain themselves extremely well in cold weather. But right now with the sunny weather outside, it's pretty hot and it's warm, and this pomade just basically gave out. I don't really feel much like melting onto my face or anything like that, but still like the strength and the restylability is just, it got melted away. Or maybe it got evaporated away, I don't know. Either way, it's basically lost. So I mean, it has a good characteristics in the beginning in terms of like the initial styling. Like it is easier than the Charming Pomade that we looked at 2 weeks ago, but this one, there's a few extra benefits, but not as much as I would expect out of like a completely separate product, you know? In terms of rinsability, it washes out in like 2 or 3 showers. It's just like another lightweight oil-based pomade. The Japanese ones do have this extra stickiness that makes it a little more resilient. The scent is essentially gone, don't smell at all. And overall, like, it was like an alright pomade. I mean, out of a lightweight pomade, it's typically, it's harder for us to really like our lightweight pomade. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of them, but at the same time, I have to be really picky about them because more often than not, they just don't work out. When they work out, they're beautiful, but when they don't, they're just bad. So this one is like an alright one. It has like its own like benefits. It has a good application, good like texture. You can style something like light, and it would be great for like cold weather, especially like in like the snow or something where you don't want some sort of super waxy pomade to just kind of like overly harden up on you. So this is a good choice of that. But for like here in California and stuff, where it's starting to heat up, it may not be the best choice. You may opt with like one of the other like water-based cool grease products for sure. But yeah, so hope you guys got something out of the review. This has been a review for Charming Pomade Classic. Other than that, take care, and maybe I'll see you guys next week.